Cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of
G'day and welcome back to the channel Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my movie reviews. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for tuning in, stopping by and checking it out. You're probably wondering what we're doing here today. Well, every Friday I've been looking at a film in a franchise, and this week we are wrapping up the Resident Evil franchise with Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. What will be coming up next week? Well, stay tuned to find out. Anyway, let's get into this one because there's quite a bit to unload in this one. It's the final chapter. I mean, is it? Let's find out. Now, this one came out in 2016. This is my Blu-ray copy here. You can see the menu in the background. You've got Devastation, Umbrella logo, and Alice front and center because Alice is the main protagonist in all of these films. Blu-ray copy here, double disc. That's a special features disc. However, there's really not a lot of special features on there, to be honest. There is a bit, but anyway, I'll chuck it up so you can have a look for yourself. Now, the film, again, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who directed the majority of these films, not all. The film, of course, stars Milla Jovovich, but we do have a couple of new faces and returning characters. Alilarter, who was missing from the previous one. Iainglenn, haven't seen him since Extinction. Shawnroberts is back as Albert Wesker. But we also have Rubyrose and many more, characters through the movie, which, again, cannon fodder is all I can say. Like, really, they're there just to be killed. Yeah. Anyway, there will be spoilers ahead if you haven't already figured that out. You'd be warned now, but I do say that on all my movies, on all my reviews. If you haven't realised that by now, well, too late. Anyway, the plot involves Alice returning to where it all began, Raccoon City. She has to go back to the Hive, and that's where we kicked off Resident Evil originally, in Raccoon City. And this is also where the Umbrella Corporation is gathering its forces for its final strike against the only remaining survivors of the apocalypse. So first off, if you're looking for a deep and thought-provoking plot, you might want to lower your expectations a bit. You should know that by now. These are Resident Evil films. They're not highbrow intellectual movies. They are fun and exciting, but that's about it. The storyline is more of a means to an end in this one. Trying to tie up any loose ends and giving closure to this saga that started back in 2002. It's been quite a while. But that being said, if you're a fan of the video games and the previous movies, you'll appreciate the nods to the source material and the way the movie weaves elements from various Resident Evil titles. Particularly the flying creatures. I think they were in, I can't remember the name of them. They do have a name. There's also some sort of super liquor called Bloodshot. Looked really good, but I'll touch on that in the special effects. Yeah, so there's lots of nods back to the games. You've got a lot of tie-in with previous movies, with all the returning cast. Alilarter, iainglenn, Shawnroberts. Look, this film does mark the supposed conclusion to the running film series. And I say supposed because it does leave it quite open. It does end the film in a way that is satisfying. Look, it does conclude Alice's saga, I'll give it that. And it kind of kills off the Umbrella Corporation as well. But look, let's get into the rest of the film, shall we? The cast. Milla Jovovich, her portrayal of Alice has been the central aspect of all the Resident Evil films. And in the final chapter, she continues to deliver a very strong performance with the focus primarily on her and her character and her journey through these films. But in this one, she's kicking undead ass, like full on. It's, yeah. There's a scene where she's hanging upside down, sort of, I guess a ballerina pose where she's going around. She looks great, you know. So you got to give her kudos for that. You know, her portrayal has been, you know, it's been pretty good in the majority of the films, but what she puts herself through action-wise, bravo. Alilarter is back, and she's reprising her role as Claire Redfield, returning after being mysteriously absent from Retribution. Now, I did mention they do tie up some loose ends. This is one of them. They do give an answer as to why she wasn't in that one. Iainglenn is back in this one, and he was killed off in Extinction. He delivers a really solid performance in this one and adds some depth to an otherwise very straightforward narrative. The idea of identity and clones is touched on, and I know I mentioned, like, yeah, it's not a thought-provoking one, and it does have those elements in it, but we're here for the action, and that is one of the things that you do see in this with the directing and the writing, which we'll get into now. Okay, so directing and writing. Look, one of the film's strengths, or one of the strengths of the Resident Evil film series, has been its action sequences and its visual effects. There have been chapters, or there have been movies in this series where they just haven't meshed well. Now, the final chapter is no exception to the action sequences and visual effects. This movie boasts some intense and well choreographed action scenes. The visuals are slick, and the special effects contribute to the film's very immersive atmosphere. These are a vast improvement on what we saw in the last two films, especially that last one, Retribution. Yeah, it took a lot to come back from that, and I think they have done that with this film. Now, the Resident Evil series is rooted in horror, and the movie attempts to incorporate elements of survival horror, jump scares, and dark apocalyptic atmosphere. It does that quite well. I think fans of the franchise and, you know, both game and movie will appreciate the film's commitment to returning to its horror origins and its post-apocalyptic setting. It does have a somewhat horror feel to it, and this is more evident in this one than in previous ones. Now on to the effects, and I love a good post-apocalyptic film. I love a good post-apocalyptic setting. Yeah, you look at films like Book of Eli, that's got a tremendous outlook on the world where it's, you know, bleak and desolate. Look here, you can see broken buildings, rubble. This film's post-apocalyptic world is bleak and desolate, and it creates a fitting backdrop for the chaos that ensues. When Alice first emerges from the underground bunker in Washington, this looked amazing. Like, I really enjoyed as the camera pans over and you see the remnants of Washington, DC. Look, the destruction, the devastation, it reminded me of Fallout 3. I love that game, and this just put me back into that kind of a mind frame. It's like a live action version of Fallout 3, like that's what we're seeing. I do want to say though, Raccoon City, although it looked good, it did have a nuclear bomb dropped on it. Now, I'm not a nuclear physicist or anything like that, but shouldn't that be leveled completely? I don't know. Look, it looked good though. The scenes where they've got fire streaming down the sides of buildings looked good. The visual effects are solid in this. There are a couple of exceptions where the flying creatures are attacking Alice at the start that kind of don't look great, but altogether the special effects are top notch in this one. Now the CGI and the practical effects work well together. I mentioned a character called Bloodshot. that looked intense, and the way they combine that CGI with the human actors is near flawless. I really liked the look of that thing. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was big, had big teeth, sharp teeth, and just ate someone's head off. You know, what more do you want? Look, these creatures, the work that's put into them, the detail is really good. I love the look of them. I honestly did. Yeah, they're definitely a step up from the last two films. Okay, so now we're on to rewatchability, and look, this is a tough one. When I first saw this film, I saw it in the cinema and actually won tickets to go see it. So when I left the cinema, I wasn't disappointed at all. I mean, it was free, you know. But look, it was a long time before I rewatched this one again. However, I do feel that after rewatching it for this is a surprisingly better entry overall in the franchise. Is it a satisfying finale? Sort of. But would I watch this again? Oh, yes, definitely. It's a really good overall film, and it definitely is a step up from entries like Apocalypse or Retribution. Final verdict. Resident Evil: The Final Chapter may not be breaking any new ground in terms of storytelling, but it delivers where it counts, and that's on the action front. If you're a fan of the franchise, or if you're just looking for a popcorn flick with zombies, mutants, and a badass protagonist, this one's definitely worth a watch. Some may appreciate the closure provided, while others might have preferred a different resolution. Regardless, the film offers a fitting end to the series, combining action, horror, and science fiction elements in a really well done way. Overall, for a score, I would give Resident Evil: The Final Chapter 7 out of 10. There you have it. That is my franchise review of the Resident Evil series. Now, I know this is a very divisive series. A lot of people, I've heard it referred to as the Fast and the Furious of zombie films, and they're not wrong. Definitely not. It is a fast-paced film. It is an action film. It's not firmly rooted in horror, but it does have those horror elements combined in it. So I think go into it with an open mind. You will get some enjoyment out of it, but that's up for you to decide. I can only give you my opinion on these films. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for future content, hit that notification bell so you are notified every time I do release a new review. Now, I did touch on something would be coming up for the next Franchise Friday, and well, I might as well let you know, I was going to put a poll up, but I really want to dive into this one before I go into any bigger franchises. I'm going to be looking at The Prophecy. This is, well, I've only seen the first two films. The final three films are going to be brand new watches, so that's going to be interesting. But you know, the first one has Christopher Walken, Eric Stoltz, Elias Koteas. You got a bunch of great actors. Viggo Mortensen as the devil. Like, how can we go wrong with this one? So make sure you check that out. Hit that notification bell so you are notified when that does drop. It'll be next week, but you know, we'll see. Anyway, I'm blathering on. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.